Hey guys, so today we're going to be doing a whole makeup look based around the new Makeup by Mario Master Matte's eyeshadow palette. I couldn't decide what I wanted to get from his new line, and I just decided, why don't I just go ahead and get the super basic palette, the palette that I know I will use, the palette I know I'll reach for, the palette I feel like could be a great partner palette to a lot of other palettes that I have. Anyway, I decided on this one. So we're basically gonna do like a very nude kind of look. I also have the new Natasha Denona nude lipsticks here, which you guys have seen me already play around with, but we're gonna be putting those on. So I do wanna do like a very nude look with this palette kind of as like the feature piece. So before we jump into it, I just want to mention that this video is sponsored by Sephora. A big thank you to Sephora for wanting to work with me again. And I just want to remind you guys, if you have not signed up for their Beauty Insider program, do that now. It's free to sign up. I'll have a link to it down below in my description box. So don't forget to sign up for the Beauty Insider program, and let's go ahead and jump into this makeup look. All right, first up is like an oldie but goodie. This is the Kevyn Aucoin Stripped Nude Skin Tint. I love this foundation. It's very, very light, and I went pretty hard with it over the spring, summer, and I feel like now that fall, winter is coming around, I may not be reaching for this as much, but it is still pretty warm here in Vegas, so I'm just gonna go ahead and use some of this. Let me roll my sleeves back. And I'm just gonna blend that in quickly. All right, so there is a really nice light layer of the Kevyn Aucoin base. It is, like I said, it's a very, very light coverage, as you guys know. I've talked about this product a lot, but I'm gonna go in and just kind of help out my eye area and any kind of discoloration I have on my face with the new Clinique Even Better Concealer. I have been loving this concealer. It has a really nice medium full coverage, and it has a wonderful, like creamy kind of texture. I'm sure you guys can see that. And it just wears so well. It just never looks, you know, cakey or drying or anything like that, and all day. And it's got this great sponge tip applicator, which generally I wouldn't use, but this one is really, really good. And it blends in the concealer really quickly, and it really kind of does act like a fingertip. Doesn't that just look so seamless? I have really been loving it. And I use the shade CN10 Alabaster, and it is worth noting that there are, I think, like 42 shades of this concealer on Sephora. So there are a lot to choose from. Anyway, let's move on to powder. I am going to go in with the Givenchy Prism Libre powder. I have it in the shade Vol Rosé, I believe. Yeah, number 3, Vol Rosé. And Givenchy just came out with like their holiday collection. And what they've done is come out with like a limited edition packaging for a powder. And that powder is this Vol Rosé. So it is basically like a re-promote of this shade, just with like a crystally or glittery top or something. I was thinking about picking up the powder if it was going to be a different shade than what I have, but since it's the same one I have, I figured I would just stick with mine. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit here and just kind of lightly tap. This powder has such a great finish. Definitely mattifying, but there's a little bit of like a blurring effect. There's a little bit of like a soft filter effect. It almost is like a demi-matte kind of finish. It doesn't look dry at all. It has this like kind of like creamy appearance to it. All right, so just a light layer of the Prism Libre powder. I didn't want to take away too much from like that natural kind of radiance that the Kevyn Aucoin base had, so just a really light layer of the powder, and I still feel like some of that radiance is shining through here, which is good. All right, and moving on to cheeks, I am still going really strong with the Hourglass Ambient Edit Lighting Palette in Sculpture. This is this year's edit. So I'm gonna go ahead and use bronzer, blush, and highlight from this palette. So I'm gonna start with bronzer. I'm gonna use this one in the bottom right-hand corner, and kind of tap that on before I start to blend. And then I'm just going to take the same brush and go into Mood Exposure, which is the cooler toned blush, and apply that to my cheeks. Focus a bit more on the apples of my cheeks. And then I'm going to use this glistening strobe light for highlight. And I'm just going to place that where I normally would, the tops of my cheekbones here. just a little, my forehead. And then for eyebrows, I'm going to use my Dior Show Brow Styler, and I have it in the shade 2, dark brown. And you guys have seen me use this before, but it's just a very, very fine pencil there. I'm just going to use some hair-like strokes. There is a spoolie at this end. All right, eyebrows are done. I feel like I rushed everything just to get to this point of the eyeshadow palette. So let's go ahead and take a look at this palette. All I did was open it up just to make sure it wasn't broken when I received it, and it wasn't. It was perfectly fine. So here is the packaging. It's just white plastic packaging. This by Mario is like raised. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's like raised lettering. And there are no color names. It looks like you just numbered them from left to right, top to bottom, 1 through 12. And ooh, and inside we have a sticker on the mirror. Let's go ahead and take that off. I will never get tired of that. Okay, here is a close-up of the shadows on the inside. It looks like we have a really lovely range going from this very light cream to this very dark black. And, you know, I'm always afraid with these kind of like neutral toned, all matte kind of palettes that you're really gonna have a lot of shades that are a little redundant, but these look like there's a pretty decent variation like between all the shades. Well, anyway, let me go ahead and show you some swatches. So I swatched from left to right and then top to bottom. Usually I can fill in this time showing you the swatches with swatch names, but since these are just numbered, it's literally 1 through 12 going from left to right. I want to do kind of like a smoky eye, nothing too dramatic, but something on the smokier side. So I'm going to take a blender brush. I'm trying to think where to start. I kind of want to go right in with a dark color and just start kind of smoking out my lash line, but maybe we'll leave that for the end. Okay, let me start with this shade, the top right-hand corner, number 4, and I'm going to see if this works as kind of like a transition shade. Oh, nice. I like this pigmentation. I think it's kind of on the softer side, but I feel like I can build it up. Oh, I like that. I personally like shadows that have a little bit of a softer feel to them. I feel like I have a little bit more control. You know, I can always build them up, so long as they're buildable. Shadows with light pigmentation that are buildable are my favorite. So far, at least with this shade, I feel like, yeah, like it's building up really nicely, and I'm not afraid to just kind of go in and start working. Like this soft pigmentation is making it look like really blended and blown out already. Oh, I love that. And I'm sorry, I did not mention, this palette is made in the US, and it is, wow, is it time? I may need readers. I think it's good for 24 months upon opening. Yeah. All right, next I'm gonna go into this shade. This is number 7, and I'm going to just start to deepen things up a little bit here. On the outer corner, bring that in a little bit. I'm gonna bring that in right underneath that crease shade. Oh, that's nice. See how nicely that's building up? Wow, I have to say I'm pleasantly surprised. I don't know why, I just kind of assumed that these were gonna be like those like hyper pigmented shadows, but these are like soft and build beautifully. You know, these shadows remind me of the Wong shadows. The Wong shadows have a similar type of like softness and buildability, and how they just like blend really, really beautifully and easily. How interesting. And if I remember correctly, there's only 2 mattes in the Wong. So this like kind of fills in any gaps that one may have. All right, and now we're gonna go a little deeper. I'm gonna go into shade number 10, and I'm still using the same brush. I'm just going to drag this along my lash line here and blend out that edge, kind of create a smoky effect. I think I need a smaller brush. I'm being lazy. I'm actually gonna use a flat shader. I'm just gonna go back into that color and get that lash line a little bit more. I also like how these matte shadows aren't like a flat matte. I feel like I'm saying that a lot lately. It's not like a flat matte. They almost have like this sheen to them just from like the formula, but they're not very powdery and they don't look powdery, and I don't have any fallout, which is pretty amazing. Oh yeah, these shadows are so easy to work. I would say this is a really like great beginner friendly kind of palette. I'm just gonna go back to my original blender brush and go into that shade number 7 again and just blend that over the darker shade. And then I'm just gonna take that dark brown shade, the number 10 shade, and just using the tips of this flat shader, I'm gonna drag this along my lower lash line. Wow, I'm loving this eye look. Yay. Wow, okay, I would love to use one more shade. I only used 3. I used these 3. Maybe I'll use this shade up here just to kind of brighten up my brow bone. I'm gonna go into this light flesh tone here and just sweep that underneath my brow. Oh nice, it like kind of helped transition that first shade I put down. Oh cool, actually, I think I need a little bit more of that first shade. I'm gonna go back into this shade. Wow, I'm really, really pleased. That was such an easy, like smoky eye look. And sometimes I struggle with the smoky eye because I feel like it gets too dark, it gets muddy looking or whatever, but that was pretty easy. I really do like the way this turned out. This is nice. An excellent first impression of this palette. I am a huge, huge fan. And like I kept repeating while I was using it, I really like the light but buildable pigmentation. That totally, totally works well for me. So I don't think I need any additional eyeliner. Otherwise, I think it's just gonna get too heavy looking. So I'm just gonna curl my lashes and we'll be back to put on some mascara. All right, so I have the Kosas mascara out because I've used it a couple of times. And then I was like testing out all these other mascaras and I remember really liking it. So I just wanted to try it again. This is the Big Clean Mascara. This is the one that just came out maybe about a month ago, and I remember liking how fluffy it made my lashes. Let's see if that's still the case. There is the Kosas mascara. Yeah, I think it does a really nice job like thickening each lash, but it kind of separates them too. They don't look like terribly clumpy or anything. Nice. All right. And finally, let's take a look at some lipstick. Let's use these Natasha Denona nude lipsticks. I have the 2 new shades. One is Andrea and the other is Maria. Here is Andrea and here is a swatch of that. That is a very pale nude for me, but I think would look great with like a subtle smoky eye. And then here is Maria, which looks just as pale. Let's see. So there is Maria and there is Andrea. Maria looks a little bit pinker, a little bit cooler. So gosh, I don't know which one to use. I guess I'll try Andrea. That's the one that's like a little peachier, that comes in like the deeper packaging. So this is the packaging that these two come in. This one's like a little bit more of a bronze and this one's kind of like a rose gold. So yeah, I'll put on Andrea, and if it doesn't work, we'll put on Maria. So we're deep into concealer lip territory for sure. I don't know if I'm just kind of getting used to this look, but I feel like I'm liking it more and more, and I'm only like 4 or 5 years late to the game, but I really like the way this looks with like a smoky eye. I think that looks pretty cool. All right, well, here is my nude look featuring the new Master Matte palette from Mario. Very, very nice. I am very, very impressed. I will continue to use it and let you guys know what I think of it definitively, but it may show up in my favorites, my September favorites. So thank you guys so, so much for tuning in, and a big thank you to Sephora for sponsoring this video. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.